Welcome to Sewing Out Loud, the official podcast of Zede Sewing Studio. Here are your hosts, Zede and Mallory.
Sewing out loud.
Ready?
I don't mind being
Ready to go?
comfortable. Yeah, I'm ready if you are.
Hello and welcome to the podcast. I'm Mallory Donahue.
And I'm Zede Donahue.
And if you like what you've been hearing, please go to iTunes and subscribe and leave us a review if you feel so inclined. We'd really appreciate it. Mom thinks that we had to audition to get on iTunes.
Mallory told me she sent a podcast in and they were going to see if we were okayed or something. And I was like, oh, was it an audition? It was like an audition tape, right?
Sure, Mom.
Oh, well.
Yeah, no, and she got kind of disappointed.
Well,
She's downplaying it right now.
That's all right. Anytime anybody goes for a job in our house, we call it an audition. So.
Yes. Break a leg. All right, so today we're going to talk about how Mom likes to hem jeans and a sewing trend that we are not really fans of at the moment.
Right.
Yes. So talk about how you hem jeans, Mom.
Okay. Well, first of all, I mark them to make while they're on the correct body that's going to wear them.
You
right?
can't just be like, I want these jeans a half inch from the floor.
Which has been said.
Has been said, yes.
Right. And I'm not gonna go in how. Do you want me to go into how we mark a leg?
No, I think that'd be another.
So we mark the bottom of the leg. That's another thing. That's a good video.
Mark it, cut it.
We mark it, and generally I cut it about an inch below that mark because your hem is going to wind up being about a half inch.
Sure.
And you are going to double fold it up.
And then you get your iron nice and hot, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And so then the next thing you do is you will fold it up an inch.
Right.
And go all the way around and press that. And then you will take that inch that's folded up, and you'll take the raw edge and you'll fold it down into the folded edge.
Right, so that raw edge goes toward the fold.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's covered in that fold, in that crease of that fold. Now, where people run into a problem, especially with jeans, is that you get a buildup of fabric, usually on the inner leg where you have the flat fold seam. Okay, and the outer seams they're bulky too because denim is bulky.
Right.
And what we do there is we will just unfold. So you've pressed that again.
Yeah. So
right?
we pressed it.
You've got two press
pressed over,
lines.
twice.
So I unfold at both of those seams, the inner seam and the outer leg seam, and I will clip down to that fold line on each side of like the flat fold seam and the other seam. And then basically you've got a little tab, right, that's free.
Yep.
And it will stay up as you fold the hem back down. Boy, can anybody visualize this at all?
I think they can, because if anybody's ever tried to hem jeans, you know that then you could possibly be going through like 16 layers of denim or something, you know.
Right.
So the part that gets folded again that you don't see, Mom's saying we get to cut that out.
Right.
And of course there will be
Right.
a link to a video in the show notes, you know.
So we leave that little tab of fabric up on each seam side. Then we go to our sewing machine, and the stitch you're going to use is what we call the triple stitch.
Yeah, so let me just back up here real quick.
Okay.
Mom is going to talk about a way to hem jeans that makes it easy for you to do it on your home sewing machine without changing tensions or anything like that. And so
and also will pretty much mimic
the designer
the retail hem that you've gotten, or that you've just cut off. And the other thing is you can do this on any hem, no matter whether this is a straight hem, a skinny leg jean, a flared jean.
Right.
Does anybody call them bell bottoms anymore?
Maybe.
Okay, someday.
Maybe
whatever.
someone your age.
But
I don't know.
but so you can use this on any type of leg style.
Right. So you are going to use a normal sewing thread? What kind of thread are you going to use?
I use a thread that the color matches. And I may in my top, I may actually use like a machine embroidery thread that could be a rayon or a polyester that matches the color of the top stitching thread on the jeans.
Right, because those thread colors come in like 500 colors,
Yes,
right?
yes,
You know,
yes.
okay.
And back in the 80s, they were doing it in, chartreuse and fuchsia.
Bright
and,
orange.
Yeah, oranges and things. So you couldn't say, buy a gold jeans top stitch thread
Right.
because, and actually, you guys, a lot of times those aren't really gold. They're kind of like a beige.
Mm-hmm.
You in your mind think it's gold till you really start to look at it and it turns out like it's a beigey brown or a taupey color. It's really not a gold. So I will match the thread. A lot
Color.
of times,
Match the
right?
color.
A lot of times too. Basically, a decorative thread, like because those are the threads that I have the most colors of.
Right.
Okay. If I want a less sheen, a more matte type finish on that thread, I might go to a construction thread. But I really kind of like to use the embroidery threads.
But I think main point is Mom's not using a thick top stitching thread. She's
Nope.
using more standard weight, like weight is 40 or 50
Right.
weight versus top stitching thread.
I'm not
being
using any
12
sort of
weight.
coordinate
Yeah,
thread
no
or
coordinate.
anything like that or anything that's called its top stitching thread. But what I am doing is I'm using what is called the triple stitch.
Uh-huh.
And on your sewing machine, what it's going to look like, what the icon they have on your machine is 3 little hash marks right next to each other.
It looks like someone's counting down the days in prison,
Right.
but only doing so
but
3
they've only
at
been
a
there
time.
3
Yeah.
days.
Gosh, I was waiting so long to use that. So that triple stitch.
I was only in prison
like-
for 3 days.
the 3 days. And then 3 days.
I used to tell the girls that if you ever wind up in jail, I'll come get you. You just don't know when.
Right.
So
So the triple stitch goes like forward, forward, back, forward, forward, back,
Right.
forward, back, and each
when it's
stitch-
sewn out,
Uh-huh.
those stitches are not hash marks next to each other. They are sewn on top of each other. So what happens is that thread that's a decorative, finer type thread comes out looking like a thicker thread and makes more of a statement and a top stitch type statement on your jeans. And the other thing about that is, and this took me 20 years to develop this technique, okay? It developed a little bit at a time. The other thing about that is your jeans nowadays have what we call lycra or spandex. Lycra is elastane.
Elastane.
Right. Some of these are generic names. Some of them are copyrighted, registered trademark names. But they're a type of spandex. So that triple stitch will not pop on you like a regular straight stitch.
And that is like, it'll be in the stretch stitch.
It is. It all yes.
section
yes.
of your sewing
it's
machine
in the
manual.
stretch stitch menu, right?
And we also, though, we use that triple stitch and we make it longer than the standard length.
Right. Usually I do about 4.
A 4.
Mhm,
Oh, really?
mhm.
That's pretty. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
that's
kind of
interesting.
a
So when you
because there's no stress
sure,
on a hem.
sure,
You
sure.
know, nobody's nobody's hanging on your hem.
unless you have a baby. Anyway.
Well, right. And then everything's hanging anyway.
And then, okay, who cares? Part of why I made my own jeans, though, is because I had a baby. I mean, we'll get into that in another episode. But when you get to use that thread, that embroidery thread, or the construction thread that Mom's talking about, it's not a thread where you need to go in and adjust tension.
Correct.
If you use a 12-weight thread or a coordinate thread or something like that, it's possible that you may need to adjust your tension. It's okay. It's just another step in the process that you can...
And then your bottom thread can be your embroidery
that's so
bobbin
important.
thread.
If you do like to use top stitch thread to hem
Right.
jeans, you need to know that you do not have to put
Yeah.
top stitch thread in your bobbin.
Actually, don't.
Don't do
It
it.
won't
Don't
work.
do it. Don't
it
do
won't
it.
work. You'll
Yeah.
wind up with a bird's nest,
Yeah,
and
no.
you'll wonder why Mallory told you to do that.
No. Yes.
So now we are hemmed, and you have stitched from the top, not from the bottom. You have stitched from the top because it's top stitching,
Listen to Mom when she says this.
and this is what makes it look good.
Yep. Go ahead.
Right.
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
top
that's
looks-
because
do it
you're
from the
top
top.
stitching. You want the top stitch up because it's the one that's made for the public. The bobbin or bottom stitch is made to be inside the garment
And it'll
or
never
on the
look
underside.
it'll never look quite as nice as the
Not as
top.
pretty.
The bobbin never looks quite as nice. Even on a perfectly balanced stitch,
Correct.
it just doesn't look quite the same.
Correct. So now what we have is we have this beautiful hem, and then when we look inside, we've got these little tabs that are sticking up
ears, yeah,
right
little
on
things.
each of the seams, the inseam and the outer seam of the pants. And all you have to do is take scissors and clip it off.
it.
It's never going to
So
fray.
you have like a little, technically you have a little raw edge
You have
there.
a little tab, right? Mhm.
But it's a flat felled seam or
Right.
it's something that's been,
And
it's
you've
been
triple
top
stitched over
yeah,
it.
right.
You've triple stitched over it.
you're
Nothing,
A-okay.
nothing bad is going to happen. I guarantee this. If you do it the way I do it, it will work out because this is the way I've been. We are short people. I have
Yes.
hemmed a lot of jeans. I could make jeans out of all the jeans I've cut off jeans.
That's right. One time I came home with those jeans that I was making, and
Right.
I'd forgotten a pattern piece here at the shop, and I was like, I could probably cut off 9 inches off the bottom of
That's
these
right.
pants and cut out my fly shield or whatever I'd forgotten because we have pretty short legs. Not only are we short,
But
we have
what's
really
short is
legs.
the short
Yes,
is the legs.
yes.
Right.
Whenever I show
Our
somebody,
knuckles scrape the sidewalk
that's
when
right.
we walk. Right.
whenever I show someone cutting that tab out here at the store,
Right. Do they freak?
yeah, they're like, oh, yeah, or oh my
Right.
gosh, why have I been trying to do this, or da 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 da.
Right. Well, and here's what happens. When you're going over that thickness that you've taken away,
Mhm.
your stitch stays nice. And you're not getting a bump or a little bit of a miss stitch or whatever. And the other thing is when you launder it, that doesn't want to pucker up.
Right.
That's the best part, really,
Yeah.
honestly. That was sort of like a bonus after I realized doing that was like, oh, now when I launder them, this doesn't pucker up in a little ball on the inside of my ankle and feel funny.
Right.
It stays
right.
nice and flat.
It's just
Right.
more comfortable.
Right, it is.
And even if you don't have a flat felled seam in there in your retail pants, because a lot of times they're not flat
Right.
felled nowadays, they're just safety stitch or something
Right.
like that. It still gets real thick there. It can
Right,
just
right,
simplify
right.
the issue. Well, let's pause here for a message break from our sponsor, which is our website, sewhere.com. And on sewhere.com, you will find 3 colors of cone denim with 1 to 2% polyester that gives you, 1 to 2% lycra that gives you the 20% stretch that you can use to make your own jeans. So go to sewhere.com and click on shop. Back to our regularly scheduled
You know, the
programming.
first time Mallory said we had a sponsor, I got all excited because I
Yeah.
thought somebody was like paying us like to do our thing.
we're paying ourselves a lot of money to do
Right,
this. So, I think we should cover something that
Well,
gets Mom a little red in the face.
I was going to
Are
say,
we ready? Are we
yeah,
ready? Okay.
Well, yeah, control me, please.
good. Just calm down. Take
Okay.
a deep breath.
I'll stay calm.
Little drink.
I'm gonna
something,
take a drink,
Little
yeah.
sip of something.
Yeah. Mhm.
The technique that we're talking about is how to preserve your designer hem on your jeans.
And this is all over Pinterest.
It's all over the place.
It's all over YouTube. And what they tell you to do is basically fold your jeans up.
Yeah.
You know,
I thought you were going to say bull. What they tell you to do is not very smart.
they
Okay.
tell you to do is really stupid. No, well, I mean, even
yes,
the sites, even
But describe the technique.
Okay.
No, good idea.
Here I
Mom.
go. I
Okay,
have to
there you
paint a
go.
picture with words. I'm
Okay.
so good at this.
Yes.
Okay, so you are going to fold your jeans up the outside.
Yeah,
You will
fold the-
fold the leg. You will turn. How do you do this? The bottom of the leg folds up over
Your calf.
the top part of the
Yeah.
leg. So basically, you have the wrong side of the fabric showing and the right sides together.
Right.
And you're going to leave your hem on there.
Uh-huh.
And you're going to take your sewing machine, or you're going to go over to your sewing machine, and you're just going to stitch a line really, 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 really close to where the other hem is made and folded.
Yep.
And then they have you cut that off.
Or I have seen people flip it up
Flip it up.
leave it
And leave it in there?
and like do another line of stitching
On top.
on
A
top
top
of it.
stitch,
Now
right.
I can see the reason to do this, like for a child, if you're gonna let out their jeans or something, maybe.
No, that's not a good
Okay,
idea. I'll
okay,
talk about
all right,
something else
well,
that's better later.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, the thing is even the sites that are really good about this, that I consider good tutorial
Sure.
sites, what they will tell you is the only leg you can really do this on is a straight-legged pair of jeans.
So if you think about this, if you're trying to preserve this designer hem, which is not what is happening.
Right.
You're getting another line of stitching.
You're not
that is
preserving
not
anything.
Part of the designer hem.
And when those are laundered, they come out pretty lousy usually.
Right, because things shift and
right.
everything. Okay, so you can only do it on a straight leg pair of jeans.
Right.
Because if you think about a flare leg or a bell bottom or something, if that flared leg needs to come up 2 inches, 4 inches, 5
Right.
inches, whatever, the leg has become narrower.
Well, they're different sizes.
Or-
You're trying to match up different sizes.
Or if
right.
it's a skinny jean,
right.
it's narrower down
That's
at
right,
the ankle.
right.
Like when I have
So
to
it
hem,
has to be basically like a
Right.
bootleg, straight leg, or a
Straight cut.
stovepipe type leg.
and when you have to hem a lot off your jeans, we won't get too deep into this, but I was just had seen this from someone else, someone who's pretty short. You know, she said, "Oh, whenever I hem the pants, they don't look right." Well, she probably needs to taper her leg or something too if she's taken off 6
she
inches
may,
of
if she's
pants.
taking the shape away.
Yes, you know, you're
Right.
taking away some of the leg shape, like you said. And so
Right.
this preserving the designer's jeans hem, to me, it's too much work. It's not actually serving the function of preserving
It's
the
ugly.
hem. It's ugly. It's not. I don't like it.
Right.
And it
And it honestly gets uglier as you go along. As you launder it, it gets worse and worse and worse because you get a worn look on that new seam.
Well, and if you want that, you know, original designer hem, first of all, are you wearing designer jeans?
Okay. Well,
Second
and
of
the other
all-
thing is tell me how many people are down there kissing your feet.
Right.
Have you been in front of the Pope lately?
Right.
You know, I mean, come
Right.
on.
And so if you really do want to sort of you know, match that or make it unnoticeable. You know, the other thing you can do instead of matching your top stitch thread color is just use like a color that matches your
Matches
denim.
the fabric.
Yeah,
Right.
just use a navy or whatever. In fact, that sort of is good for people like us with short legs, not to draw attention
Because
to
it
where
doesn't
your leg
stop your
stops.
eye.
Yeah,
Right.
but I just do not agree with this. Preserve the design. It's
I
like,
go crazy
it's
when
with
I
the
see it
burrito
on
pillowcases.
It's a Pinterest fail,
yeah,
everybody.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
a Pinterest fail.
Well, anything else you want to add to the jeans hemming technique? Now we have to make the video.
Now we have to make the
Yeah.
video and put it on.
Another thing you can do if you'll talk about this more in depth. I think you've got more experience with this than I do. That designer hem will sometimes be hammered or something to give
Right.
that worn look.
Or clapped.
Yeah, clapped. And I've heard, like when I was in high school, I remember the girls not wanting their jeans hemmed because when you hem it up, that denim looks new. It's
Right.
not, worn. So you can
Right.
just hammer that
Just
a
take
little
a hammer,
bit
yeah.
and get that little finish.
Yeah,
that will
you
be
can take
on
a hammer, you can take a rock, you can take a block of wood, whatever.
on your Abercrombie and Fitch jeans or whatever
that's
that
right.
you bought. You never bought me Abercrombie
You
and
can
Fitch jeans.
you can take a garlic grater if you want. Yeah.
No, I am wearing my handmade jeans, and if anybody tries to come at me with a Dremel tool, you don't. You just. I can't.
Okay,
I
you're not
can't.
doing it.
I'm not accountable for what happens to you.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, well, thank you all for listening. I'd love to hear your view. Maybe you've tried to preserve the designer hem and it was super successful. Let us
So
know.
tell us off about it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
tell us off about it. We'd love to hear about it. And thanks for listening.
So long and so happy, everybody.
Thanks for listening to Sewing Out Loud. For even more expert sewing advice, visit sewhere.com.